Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. I have a channel about marriage to a woman from the Philippines, but really, not just overseas, but the things I talk about could apply to any married couple, man and woman. This is going to be part 2 of an article from Forbes.com by often cited with me, Mark Travers, and he calls it 4 reasons behind phantom plus one relationships. Now, this one I'm going to call is illusion and fear preventing you from pursuing marriage. Now, the last video he talked about, he wrote, and I talked about the illusion of readiness, as in I'm open, just not right now. And then the other part was avoidance disguised as selectiveness. I know some people that are really, picky and they really have to decide at some point, or they're going to run out of age, run out of life. And that could be something we all face. And the fact that there may be some fear of, commitment there, avoidance of the troubles that come, difficulties that come with marriage. Now, this one here, let's talk about the comfort of an imaginary partner. See if you can relate. And please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. I've got about 1,900 videos out there on YouTube, a lot of playlists too. The comfort of an imaginary partner. For some, he says, the most significant relationship in their life isn't with a real person. It's with an idealized future partner who exists only in their imagination. This phantom partner offers, for example, a sense of hope. My person is out there. Shields against loneliness. I'm alone for now, but not forever. And preserves self-esteem. I'm single by choice, not because I can't find someone. However, as research on Disney love, it's called, narratives suggest, these romantic ideals can create a form of cruel optimism, an attachment to a fantasy that, he says, instead of leading to happiness, actually hinders real-world connection. And he cites a 2017 study showing that media-driven love narratives, especially those in the Disney films, encourage people to orient their happiness and self-worth around an unattainable romantic ideal. And before I continue, I'll just say that here in this channel, I've said many times things that try to help you be realistic about marriage. I think marriage is a great thing. People should get married, but you have to know what you're going into and how to be realistic too, so that you can stay married, because it's not easy. And continuing here, he says, for women in particular, researchers suggest that these narratives limit their personal agency and promote bridal fiction, the belief that love should arrive effortlessly, perfectly, and in a way that fulfills an idealized but unsustainable version or vision of happiness. Much like these fairy tale romances, an imaginary partner offers the illusion of emotional security without requiring the risks of real intimacy. After all, a fantasy partner never argues, never disappoints, never demands emotional growth. And I'll bet just about every one of us can relate to that. That's me talking, and that just simply isn't real. There are no perfect women. Women will know that you're not perfect. We're going to have to be satisfied, I say, with Miss Good Enough rather than Miss Right. So Travers continues here, living in a romantic fantasy creates an illusion of love without its reality. I'm interested in reality. That's why I talk a lot about being realistic. That's me talking here about my channel, Love Beyond the Sea. Continuing, but true love isn't built in daydreams. It's built in real time with real people. And I'm going to add that the architect is God, who instituted marriage, and the builder is the man. He is the one that has to keep it together and be the leader in a marriage. That's why I talk about things about men and to men. I'm not interested in trying to talk to women. I think that's something other women need to do for them. So the last one here is the fear of making the wrong choice. I know that can paralyze anybody. We all think about that. He says, in a world of seemingly endless dating options, is that true, really? The fear of choosing the wrong partner can be paralyzing. For instance, dating apps create the illusion that someone better is always just a swipe away, making commitment feel risky. And they say it's a classic example of the paradox of choice. The more options we have, the harder it becomes to feel satisfied with any single one. Instead of making a decision, many people keep searching, convinced they just haven't met the perfect match yet. But in reality, they may be postponing love indefinitely. A 2016 study published in Media Psychology highlights this dilemma. He cites when people select a partner from a large pool, say 24 options, rather than a small one, who has 24 options, rather than a small one, 6 options, that sounds like a lot to me, they tend to be less satisfied with their choice and more likely to second guess it. I've said that before about dating sites. Was on 4 of them, 2 of them twice. Got nowhere with that. Found my wife overseas from a website called Christian Filipina. We got married real quick. Proposed in 18 days, got married in less than 8 weeks. Coming up on 10 years of marriage. I think I got this shirt over there. It's not a new shirt, but it sure is good quality. It still looks brand new. What I did was I was going to have a lot of options, and I've said it before in my videos. I think it's best to have just a few, if you can find them. I think with the Philippines, you can have tons of options, but that just makes it tough. I suggest getting a few and then starting at the top and focusing on them. You may not even need option 2, 3, 4, 5. And then see how far that goes. And just give them your undivided attention. That happens to be what my wife and I did. That's what she wanted to do. And I said, okay, my goal here is to get married. So I told the other ones, I'm going to focus on my wife. I told them her name, and they said, well, great. That's what I want. I hope things go well for you. And my number 2 said, if she says no, doesn't work out, you know where to find me. Very classy. So I agree. The more choices, the more paralyzing it can get. And you will have choices, I think, if you look overseas. You just have to narrow them down to a good one. I'm not saying that's easy, but that's what has to be done. And they continue here. This dissatisfaction grows stronger when they know their choice is reversible, reinforcing the idea that they should keep looking instead of investing in what they found. When they've got these choices, the sheer abundance of choices, rather than increasing happiness, often leads to anxiety, regret, and reluctance to commit. Can you identify with that? The problem with this approach is that relationships aren't about finding the perfect person. They're about growing together. The happiest couples aren't necessarily those who found their perfect match, but those who built something meaningful with the person they intentionally chose. In essence, love isn't about saving a seat for the right person. It's about sitting down, getting comfortable, and allowing someone real to join you. That's the end of the article. I know many people out there on YouTube are making popular videos about why men should never get married. And, their views is all women are terrible, Jezebels, man haters that you can't live with, and that, most people are unhappy. Maybe 1% is. I got to make a video about that sometime. I disagree with so much of that. There are a lot of people that are happy, but that doesn't mean happiness. To me, doesn't mean everything is wonderful and perfect. It just means they're content. They can handle the ups and downs of a marriage. And so they're happy. They say they're happy. They're realistically happy. They're not looking for perfection. So the fear of making the wrong choice, talked about today, the comfort of an imaginary partner. And before that, avoidance disguised as selectiveness. And then the first one was the illusion of readiness.